All right, we live, man. We live.
What to do, y'all?
Special GoldKast episode. All right. So we're gonna get into it, man. Today we talking about child support, man. We got a lot of little interesting facts from the Black Omega,
Yeah, yes sir.
Professor
Yes.
Omega.
Hey, call me the O. Don't forget the O. Please don't forget the O.
So the interesting part about this, what you said, is just the studying law part, man. So
Right. I think the easiest way to study law is to look up current case law from the Supreme Court, which we have always learned when it comes to anything with law that the federal supersedes the state and that the Supreme Court supersedes any other court. So keeping those two integral pieces of data in mind, you can find out just like researching anything. Where what was the last decision made on this subject? And with child support, it's very fun to find out that the Supreme Court ruled child support unconstitutional a long time ago.
hmm
Let's see.
okay, definitely heard that. Man, I've been hearing that going around that child support is unconstitutional for the consequences that they enforce,
Yes.
which definitely violates our rights, citizens'
Right.
rights.
Right. But that's part of everything. It's all an ensemble. You got to realize that the game is so big that so you can't even fit the X. I mean, you could fit multiple Xboxes in it. That's how big this game is.
Yep.
So, um, yes, you are right. The whole game is to trick you into giving up your rights. But those rights are also given up when you claim to be a citizen. You're claiming to be a citizen of not a government or a country, but a company. A company just as much of a company as McDonald's. You are a citizen of a company.
Mm.
That is not good for you. I see. I wanted everybody in at the same time because I wanted everyone to do their FOIA request. I was gonna run everybody through it, what to ask for, and do your FOIA
Okay.
request right here, right now. That way, I don't care what you believe in. When that fucking when that FOIA request comes back and it says that you're not a U.S. citizen,
Mhm.
now you got more questions. Now you like, hey, I need to learn a little something because if I'm not a citizen, then what am I?
That's
Why
interesting.
does this say that I'm not a citizen when I thought that I was a citizen this entire time? Especially how I explained last night with the naturalization. If we lived in the United States, then you would have automatically become a citizen just by being born here. But you're not. So that lets you know you've never been to the United States.
So that's what I was getting ready to ask. So why is that they're coming up that you may not be a citizen, essentially? And like, Brandon said last night, hey, he feels like he's a citizen based on the documentation that he was given at birth.
I don't know what documentation he was given at birth.
Like
But
your birth certificate, your social security card,
okay, well,
your,
so
as
what
I say,
are
your
those
prison
things?
number.
Right,
That's
right.
numbers for them to keep up with you.
See, when you find out what the things that they offer you, the first thing that they're offering you is the registration of the child, if I'm not mistaken. They want
hmm
you to register the child, do all, but what we miss is that stuff is supposed to be done by the parent, not by this de facto government. No one, not Tennessee state or wherever whatever state you in, no state is supposed to do that stuff for you. That's your child. That paperwork is supposed to be filled out by you. So when you fill it out given to you by them, you're basically saying that that's their child. That's why in
Mm.
cases like and these family cases where the children can be taken away, like literally really think about that. Who the fuck gave them permission to take my child? You can't take my child from me. But yet
Right.
somewhere that consent was given, and where was it? You have to stop all this shit at the roots. And
At birth.
you not at well, yeah, at birth, but all of us are already adults and stuff, so we have to take back that power that we gave them. In a million different ways, we've given them this power so many times over, so many different ways that Basically, it's your job to find out where you gave up your rights and your power and take it back. The easiest way, how I was going to roll everybody into it, the easiest way to know this is with a gun. They tell you that you need a license to have a gun. They tell you that you need a ID to buy a gun. They tell you all kinds of crazy bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Um, but we already know our constitutionally protected rights are that we have the right to bear arms, and there are no fucking asterisks behind that to change up the wording. Like, well, maybe in this circumstance you would have to have this. No, it says you have the right to bear arms. So anytime you give up those rights, you kind of sound crazy asking them why they're going against the Constitution. Like, you gave up those rights. We didn't take them
Mm.
from you. You gave them up. So the
So you kind of look at it like your constitutional rights are essentially the true guideline we should go by when it comes to these laws.
yes, that amongst other things, the Social
Any of the
Security Act.
laws created under it don't really matter.
Well, you'd have to be careful on what laws were created because the structure to our government, what we believe our government is, it is shit that was written a while ago and hasn't really been touched. Some things have been
Right.
amended a bit, but the Constitution, all of the amendments, all of this shit, this stuff hasn't really been touched. So all of
Mm.
the stuff that they create, they're creating it fraudulently, and all of the guidelines that kind of had us going by was all fraudulent as well. I don't huh?
Mhm.
Do I what? No, I gave y'all my dollars. But I do believe that a lot of this stuff has been stopped. It's just like what we were taught about slavery, when slavery was supposedly ended, but it did not end the slavery because each slave master had to physically let go of their slaves,
Mhm.
once they got the message, and the message wasn't sent by a computer. You know what I'm saying? So it took a second to ripple through the United States. But obviously we've been taught so many lies that that's just one of them. But it does make sense in this context that just because child things like child support was deemed unconstitutional, they made that decision, but they didn't make the announcement. You have to search that, find that out yourself, that, oh shit, this is unconstitutional, I'm not supposed to be dealing with this at all.
Mhm.
The only way you can deal with something unlawful and unconstitutional is if you give up your rights and deal with it yourself. They're not legally required to let you know that they shit was deemed unconstitutional, but you if you don't read enough and you fall for a trap, they're not liable for you falling for the trap. You did it voluntarily.
Okay. So essentially, how would people listening in say, okay, how do I get to that point to where if they're trying to enforce something on me that's unconstitutional, how exactly would I fight that?
All right, so um when it comes to a person versus person, you usually just sue a motherfucker. You could just sue a person.
Right.
But because we know we're not dealing with people, or god damn it, this people will catch that one on the back end, but you're not dealing with humans. Since they're not humans but they're corporations, you will have to take them to a different version of court. Most of these companies have an arbitration clause set up to where you cannot sue them unless you arbitrate with them. And arbitration is just mediation. Like, let's say
Right.
me and this guy got a problem with each other, and he didn't I feel like he didn't pay me fairly. Well, we're gonna go to Courtney's arbitration court, so Courtney can say, hey, I think that this is fair. This is how much you should get. And then we leave court with it settled and done data. The reason why these companies want you to go to arbitration instead of actually going to a real court to sue them is because real court is public. That shit is public. You would find out all of these people's dirty laundry. When it comes to anyone finding out the truth about not having to pay public utilities and stuff like that, they've all took these companies to court or not all, but I'm saying like the people who have done this step, they take these companies to court, which would be arbitration, and you tell the mediator, you have to tell the mediator what you want. If you come in there with not enough knowledge and you just say, hey, I want all the money back that I ever paid these people because I know I wasn't ever supposed to pay them according to this law, then you can get that. If the mediator so mediates that, you can get that. Um, but that doesn't fix the problem. Yes, you got your money back, but it doesn't fix the problem. You should take that time to know that what you're really should be asking for is that, hey, I know for a fact I'm not supposed to pay this, per this law. I want that to be fixed, and I want my account to be set up correctly. Because it seems that the account is set up in violation of the Social Security Act and the EFT, the Electronic Fund Transfer Act. It's in violation of both because it requires me to pay something automatically online with a with an automated machine, and I'm paying with electronic funds.
Right.
It's complicated, but I'm saying it just as you would have to say it. They call this shit legalese, where it's really a different language than English. A lot of these words don't even mean the same thing.
Mm. It's just strict like legal terms.
Not just strictly legal terms, like but yes, you can say that. Like while I was stumbling earlier with person, is that one way that they trick us is the same way I just taught you that as a human you can't take a company to court, you have to go through mediation, somebody to talk in between y'all. Well, it works the opposite way too. A company can't take you to court. Think about what I'm saying. A company can't take you to court. But think about
Mhm.
every time you've been to court. And unless you've been personally sued by someone for something, some damages to a person, you've never been to court um the legal way. You've been taken to court on some fraudulent shit. Because you're not a company, they can't take you to court. Well, the way they've been tricking us is they make you think that you're a person. Legally, a person is the same thing as a corporation or a company. So the moment you say that I'm a person, you see how simple that is? You could say,
Right.
who is this person? The judge points at you and say, who is this person? And you say your name thinking that you're a person. You're not even a fucking person. You fell for the trap. Just as long as they can get the paperwork to say this stuff, then they feel like they got you. They don't care about, physically, literally, this stuff doesn't make sense because you can't take a human to court, as a company, but they don't care about that just as long as they make it seem like you're a company on paper. Oh yeah, they taking your ass to court for stupid shit. About you can't go to you can't be taken to court, like the police can't take you to court for a crime if you didn't injure anyone. If there's nobody that got hurt, you're driving down the street, you ain't got not a tag on that bitch, not a fucking driver's license, nothing. You got nothing. And the cops pull you over, give you a ticket, you got to go to court. When you get to court, the first thing you should say, wait, where is the injured person that I'm here for? Because that's the only reason I would be here, that somebody got hurt.
Hmm.
Where is
Interesting.
that motherfucker? I don't see him. I don't see
So,
they would
so
say the state is the injured party, but you know from what I
that's not a
said
person.
that, yeah, that's, well, remember, that is a person. The state is a person, but
Hmm.
that's not a human. And
Right.
I'm a human. So if I'm a human, I need to see another human, injured human, who is trying to say that I hurt them. But if y'all can't show me that, then there's no case. Null and void. The shit is closed out.
So would that be a you think what's the workarounds if in court they simply say that's they come back and say that's not how it goes. You're in court for this speeding ticket. So I mean, you're gonna leave it up to us if you don't fight with based on things that like this, what you're saying now.
Yeah.
How do you get to that point?
So I'm not sure what you're asking, but I think you saying like, how do you get to the point to be able to fight for it, right?
Exactly, because essentially, if you're in court, you're in judge, you telling them some of this stuff, right? Like, hey, where is the exactly what you said? Where is the injured human? And they say exactly what you say. Hey, well, the state is this. Will they even accept that when you saying that's not, that's not a human?
All right, so I get you. I get you. I feel what you're saying. So when it comes down to it, we don't trust the court. We don't trust that process. We don't believe that they're even doing a judicial process. We believe that it's, everybody versus us. That when you step into the court, everybody in their room is against you, which is
Hmm.
true.
Right.
Literally it is true. But we're playing a game. And if you play the game correctly, as the way that they say you should play the game, which is what I'm doing, well, then, it doesn't seem so scary because you know for a fact that you got the handicap on. You got the handicap on max on yourself. You got like 4,000 health and they ain't got number one health.
Hmm.
Regardless of how many people in here against me, my knowledge of the law is a handicap. So, let's say, we're in one of those and I'm in court and the judge tries to railroad me. That's what they call it, like, railroading you, just like running over you. And
Right.
the judge tries to say, the injured party is the state, and you're, I guess, you owe the state or wherever for driving without this, driving whatever, whatever you did, speeding.
Right.
Um, so there's a multitude of ways that this can go. Like I said, it's personal to each person, but let's just say for me,
Hmm.
so personally, I would be like, what contract, what contract did I sign that, says that I'll pay you guys if I don't follow this statute or this code? What
Hmm.
what 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 did I sign that says that? Typically, this is where they refer to your driver's license that you applied for with the state.
Right.
I already revoked that. I rescinded my signature. I rescinded everything about that contract because now, that means that I don't have a standing contract with the state for the highways and the streets and stuff like that. So if a cop pulls me over and says, "Hey, you were speeding," according to who?
Hmm.
According to what? You have to show me where I signed. I'm saying, obviously not to the officer. You don't want to do the shit with the officers because they're idiots. They're just muscle. They're just here
Right.
to bully people. It's the court where you make this shit matter. And to the judge, I'd be like, nigga, who? Where did I sign anything saying that I'd adhere to such a thing? See,
Hmm.
Courtney, you gotta really remember. You gotta let me see. You gotta think about it like this. The way I first started thinking about it. This is our country, fool. This
Right.
is our country. They like, I'm not gonna have no foreigner come into my country, put some fucking signs up and tell me that I have to, drive a certain speed limit. You get what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like,
Okay.
you just because you stumped this fucking sign into the ground, I don't have to fucking listen to you. Who are you? This is my country. You feel me?
Okay.
This shit would never work in no other country with nobody else. That's how you know, like, that's how you know the whatever brainwashing they're doing on our people, it's working because
Mhm.
this shit would never fly nowhere else. They stick a sign in the ground and tell you you better listen to it or you're gonna go to jail because our asses don't know enough about the law. We listen to it, random sign.
Right.
Man, get that shit out of my face.
Okay. Okay.
Let
I
me
can.
show
I
you
can.
some
I feel
physical
that.
stuff. Let me show you some physical stuff. I want to show you some physical stuff.
Okay.
So let's say let's go into how you deal with child support, you know, or really let's just look at the rules that child support is governed by, and I'll show you how to find this stuff, like just as they would want you to. Let me see. Let me turn the presentation on.
Okay. This is interesting. This is interesting. So I can kind of see how where the angle is coming from, essentially, as far as like you said, this is our country. The only question I have to that, like, especially what you saying, you know, we essentially go back to the Constitution. We take a lot of this back to the Constitution.
Right.
Isn't that in a way the same as, because they say the founding fathers, right? Isn't that the same as them? Like you say, hey, you plant this sign, and you say this is what we have to do.
Oh, you said it again. Said it again.
Yeah, we have to obey this. Isn't that
Yeah.
kind of the same? Even the Constitution, to a degree, is saying, hey, I planted this sign. Obey now. Obey whatever I say. I write on this sign.
Hey, all right. So stuff like that is a little deeper than just this de facto government that just came and like set up shop on our land. They didn't create all
Right.
this stuff. Yeah, I see what you were saying. They didn't create all this stuff. A lot of it was created by our people. You know,
Right.
I don't know if I don't know how far back into history you've been seeing like the new updates on, but our people around with the Moors basically created our government, and the
Hmm.
rules and regulations they had already
Okay, I'm
been in
familiar with
place.
that.
But when these people came over, they set up some new rules and stuff like that. And um, it was Roosevelt. Let me see. Let me pull that up. Roosevelt emergency. It was the Emergency Banking Act, the Emergency War Powers, all of that stuff. And then I want you to realize that all of this stuff wasn't that long ago. They make it seem like they've been doing this over here for 400 years. They just been, what I'm saying? They've been on our land for a long time, and we just come from Africa and
Right.
all this stuff a long time ago. But all of this stuff happened not that long ago. Um, Roosevelt was the one that set up the emergency power. Like when 9/11 happened, they gave the government emergency powers. Like, well, oh shit, we might be under attack, so we need a little more power, y'all. Like, please, can we have more power over y'all? And we was like, sure, we are kind of in danger. And that's when they enacted more power to be able to like shut down the border or check people more at the airports. They gave themselves more power.
Hmm.
Well, after the emergency was over, the power was supposed to go back. But what you can realize is that the emergency was never over. It has never ended. Even
Okay.
this emergency from back then, the shit has never ended. The fucking green dollars that we use, those are Federal Reserve notes that are only supposed to be used in an emergency. America had been on a credit system a long time ago. We stopped using paper money
Okay.
a long fucking time ago, and we were using gold and silver to back everything. But when they did this, they took the gold and silver from us. You see, they took the gold and
That
silver
is
and was
interesting.
like, "Hey, well, if y'all give us all y'all gold and silver, then we'll create the credit system where we pay for everything for y'all. That's y'all ain't got to worry about nothing. Y'all just got to give us the gold and silver." Literally, what we did, we gave it up.
Right.
And these same people, even though you can't trust any of these pictures, how you
They
can't
replaced it.
that flat. Yeah, they replaced all these pictures with either painted up or whatever. These pictures were modified. A lot of these pictures were modified. I don't know if you ever heard of the vanilla sky stuff. I just seen that for the first time myself. Like here, if
I
you
have
look at
not
the
heard about that.
skies on any of these old photos, you notice that the sky is completely bleached out, entirely bleached out. You can
Right.
go to any old photo. If you don't believe me, I didn't believe it either, but I went to just googled a couple of them myself, and apparently it's true. You can't see the sky on any of these photos, and people were trying to explain it away as like exposure or some goofy shit, but we know that cameras don't work like that. Cameras capture
Hmm.
light and harness that moment, with the light of that moment. You can't get like over, I don't know, I can't explain it correctly, and I don't want to fucking put my foot in my mouth, but essentially people were saying that like, all of that is malarkey. These skies
Hmm.
were purposely painted white in these pictures. Hold on, take it to him, mom. Take it to him, mom. But yeah, um, anyway, I forgot what I was. But yeah, all of this stuff is brand new. This shit started back. Roosevelt was the one that did it. He enacted all these powers that gave them the ability to become a government, or what they made us believe is a government. And that's where all this shit comes from.
Hmm.
Um, I'm getting off track. I got ADHD. You gotta keep me on track. Anyway, so child support hit you up.
No, you're
You
right.
know,
You're right.
right? Child support hit you up, and they say that you owe them. Well, you have to see what the guidelines to child support are, just to make sure that they're in compliance with like how it works. I can't remember all of the stuff that it said, but the most important one was that family first officer, I think. Family first
Right.
officer.
I remember you saying that family first officer.
I can't remember
It
what
said that it
the
has to
name.
be a family first officer that essentially is essentially takes the place of the caseworker. I could be mistaken on it,
I don't think he was the caseworker, but I think this person is the one
or
that
is essentially
ultimately
supposed to
makes
be. I
the.
know that's a definite that.
I don't know. I can't remember what his rule, what the guidelines for that person would be after the obligation is set, in court. But I do remember in court that person had to be there, just to
Hmm.
just to make sure this goes well. Like a lot of the problem with child support is that you can't do like too much. Like, oh, is this gonna be okay with you? Like, can you still work and and pay this much and take care of the kid and all that? That all of that was supposed to get like taken care of when you go to court by another person, not the judge or magistrate, but another person at the court. And because child support um no child support case has been like done with those guidelines, like done under those guidelines, they're all null and void. Obviously, you can't
Hmm.
go to any of these websites and find this stuff out. You basically have to find out the truth from the original documents. So when I
Right.
say like, child support was created with this in mind, um, let me see, the creation of child support.
Which like it makes sense what you're saying because yeah, like you say, you can't go on their website because they, like you said, they count on you not knowing. They count on people not knowing.
Facts, facts, facts. But
So
yeah, but you get what I'm saying. So when you're looking up what if how you're dealing with them, if you want to know if it's fraudulent or not, just go by the guidelines. And like I said, one of the most important guidelines is the family first officer. So let's say you realize that some stuff isn't right. The most important thing to realize is that your due process. Let me see. Your due process wasn't taken care of. It's the 14th. I was right. It was 14th.
what's
But
going on,
your
Brandon?
I see.
Yo,
Yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep.
yeah, we
what's
just getting
up?
getting into the child support system and the workarounds, essentially
Gotcha, gotcha.
knowing the law, the real laws.
Yeah, I was always like, there ain't no workaround. They did what they gave us.
All right.
But um, when they violate that, that is violation of due process. So let's say, you already got what the problem is. Hey, child support. I feel like you guys got a problem with the due process. My 14th Amendment constitutionally protected right. They're gonna, if you only say due process, they're gonna take it as you don't know what you're talking about. You might have heard about this a little bit, because due process just means a part of the process was skipped, or in violation of due process means that a part of the process was skipped. And
Hmm.
as we've already learned, the part of that process is the family first dude.
Right.
Um, so at that point, Brandon, you use ChatGPT.
Sorry. Yeah,
You gotten good with your chat and all that.
of course. I don't want to call
Okay.
myself an AI guru, but I mean, it's my job to learn about it before it got a little bit more popular than it's supposed to.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Um. So when I first picked up ChatGPT, it wasn't that it was ever confusing, but it was, how do you make this thing say and do what you wanted to do? Because a lot of times I would get hit with brick walls on certain questions, especially legal questions. Manipulating ChatGPT is mostly, to me, in my opinion, Um, it's mostly about how you word things. Um, so if I asked ChatGPT for legal advice, oh, it's gonna back down. Hey man, I can't give you any fucking legal advice. I can't do that. But give me guidelines around this issue and use Black's Law Dictionary and all relevant Supreme Court case law um, as as the guidelines. And that's literally the exact same thing as give me legal advice, but you want it to be done thoroughly and with the I guess the highest point of law. So you use the Supreme Court case law. So let's say um, give me Supreme Court case law supporting that I don't need a driver's license if I am not driving commercially. So we already know that they typically go with this sovereign citizen bullshit, but like I said, this AIs are just search engine tools. These are not real AIs. If it was a real AI, you wouldn't have to tell it what to do. So when they send these search engines, super search engines out, they definitely kind of fill them with the idea that hey, if you get asked about this shit, this is this. I don't know, like they say anything that questions the government is conspiracy theory shit. This is the same thing. So any Supreme Court case law that talks about um, the necessity of a driver's license, um, it may or may not have the complete understanding that it is only for commercial use. It has nothing to do with just traveling. I don't know, just traveling as a human being. Commercial use obviously is just
Mhm.
when you're working with it. If you were doing Uber, of course you need a driver's license. But if you were going from point A to point B in your personal property, you know you don't need a driver's license. That disparity is what keeps them
Mm.
getting paid for things that we're just too ignorant to understand. Just like we said earlier, just as long as it keeps their money flowing, they're gonna keep on. You know, oh no, that's not real. Don't trust anyone that says that. They're gonna keep that kind of shit up until the I guess the masses come to a good understanding about how to utilize law. So the Constitution tells us about the uh, ability to travel with no parentheses or anything behind it, letting you know that your ability to travel is infringed upon, due to this or because of this or when this happens. Because that doesn't exist, then we know that anyone that changes those words that I'm free to travel, and they put a but or if at the end, they are interpreting the law. And what we understand about interpretations of the law is that the Chevron deference doctrine was what controlled that. It says if the law is ambiguous, if the law is clear, the court must follow it. But they're supposed to be determining if the law is ambiguous. Obviously, they just said all the shit is ambiguous and put all kinds of interpretations out there. But since this was overruled, like what a month ago, they don't have the ability to just tell
Mm.
you, well we can require that you have this, just for you to be able to travel. Like, nah, bullshit. Now that everything is governed by, the Constitution, the Social Security Act, the EFTA, the FCRA, stuff like that. All of those acts are the ones that control everything. Um,
Right.
let me see. So now that a couple things that would make child support completely null and void, let's just get on writing a letter to them. So let's say, write me a letter to child support enforcement in TN, um, saying that they voided the contract when they avoided the due process that is my constituted right. I still didn't spell it right. Well, I know I can
I
spell
wasn't
it.
gonna say anything.
It's because I got this damn keyboard, man. It be
Hey,
typing.
words be fucking me up too. So
Let me see.
nothing wrong with that.
Uh. Okay, so yeah, the due process that was or
So, Blazing, what you thinking so far, man?
I mean, I came in on the part where ChatGPT was hit. So, so
okay.
which part do or what
Just what you
overview
heard so
do I
far.
need to give? Or what was the main topic, question, direction so far?
Oh well, yeah, yeah. You probably had to get in. He's just showing a lot of interesting things.
Just how to navigate this stuff because it's very simple.
How to
Like
navigate ChatGPT?
no how to navigate
The law and what
yeah
you're
when
supposed
you
to know
have a
during child
problem,
support.
right?
Ah,
Let me see. Use all relevant Supreme Court case law and use blacks. Oh, this is those two last line right there. Use all relevant Supreme Court case law and use Black's Law Dictionary. Um, that is my number one way to say make sure that everything I'm talking about is I guess it's transferred here. You basically want to make sure it has those guidelines.
and
Okay,
is this
okay.
for alternating child support, getting out of child support, setting up child support, questions
Uh,
during child support? Like,
this is just to notify them that when they created your child support case, they created it void of due process. So you're demanding that the case be closed. Um, one thing that people don't know about child support is that it's a service. You can
yeah,
you
of
can
course.
quite literally tell them that I don't want your service anymore. This is just one of the ways because they wrap you up in it so far that like you have to do all. Oh yeah, that you see that UCC 1-308. That's reservation of rights. That goes below my signature on everything now. That's reservation of rights. That basically means that I don't care what you think you can do with this paper. Once I handed it to you and it has that on it, then you already know that I'm reserving all my rights as a human being, as a Constitution protected citizen, as an American national. Whatever your status is,
Hmm.
if you're a U.S. citizen, you could say that, but
That's
it ain't gonna
interesting.
do you no damn good.
So, overview question as well. Who is this for? Person that
Well,
does not want to be on child support or don't want the government inside of that one, or the person trying to put somebody on child support that is not that's not doing their parental duties. What
it's
what
it's,
what
it's
side is this going
um
to?
it's not for anyone except for those who realize that the law was used against them unjustly and they want to correct such a mistake.
So,
This is not for me, this is not me showing anyone how to neglect their duties as a parent. We just know that these things weren't set up with the best, for the child in mind. It was actually set up so someone could line their own pockets. Well,
well,
we
of
can take
course.
care of children without, lining somebody else's pockets. So, for anyone that feels like they can take care of their own offspring without anyone else's hand all over it, this is what you do,
Hmm.
especially if you were set up, if you were forced into this. Oh yeah, Courtney, look,
Mhm.
don't forget what I said, that anytime you didn't go down there and do this shit yourself, it is identity theft. If
Right.
you look up what identity theft means, I don't know why we don't realize that anytime the government tells you, oh, protect your social security number, protect your identity, they're only talking about themselves, protect it from them, because no normal person is like, I'm gonna get this man's social security number. What the fuck you gonna do with it? What are you really finna do with it? Not much. Not much before you're
Still
caught.
an
But
identity.
shit, the shit that they do with social security numbers, man, this shit'll blow your mind. I mean, you talking millions of, look, we'll talk about that part later. But essentially, if somebody gives any corporation or anyone your information without you giving consent for that to happen, that is identity theft. And us American Indian men go through so many different problems with our identity being passed around in this family law circle, that no, without us knowing about identity theft, we're just getting tossed around in here. So one of the easiest way you can handle any of this stuff is that if it was done without your consent, or without you giving up that information, how did you get this information, is one of the easiest questions you can ask someone. When I
Mhm.
get a call and it's not a call that's not saved in my phone, I ask them, just straight up ask them, hey, how did you get this number? How did you get my name? Because wherever it's at, I'm nuking that shit. I don't want none of my personal information online. I've already gotten rid of most of it.
Okay. So I could be getting this a little wrong, but basically, some of the guidelines of what you're saying are how you putting it is more so like this government that planted their flag. They set up this in a way lockbox because they can't say, "Hey, if you don't go along with what we're telling you to do, you can't do A, B, and C that we have that we're offering." What would you say to that?
Well, I actually got a current issue with that. So when I got my FOIA proving that I'm not a U.S. citizen, um, I had an interesting problem. It was time for me to let everyone know who I am, because clearly everyone kind of thought I was a U.S. citizen, and I thought I was too. But since I'm not one, I have certain rights that can't be infringed upon. I'm not one of those guys, is what I'm saying to them.
Hmm.
But you need to let them know who you are. So that is when you create your declaration of status or your affidavit of truth, whatever you want it to be. So I created my declaration of status, but in that, it would separate me from the all caps name that is addressed when they address you. It's do you have any letter, any new, not any new, but like any letter, any mail with a bill, or like government paper, anything like that? Check the name on it. You will see very quickly and clearly that your name is spelled in all caps. Now, last time I checked, your name isn't spelled like that. That is an
Hmm.
entirely different entity. Well, all it's very simple. That person is your birth certificate. It is your straw man. It is your company name. That's your company name, and that name is how they trick you into doing things that isn't meant for humans, but for companies. So if you had to go to court, they would send you a letter addressed to that all capital name, because that's how companies write their name. You ain't never seen Nike write their name on any official documentation as capital N, lowercase I K E. Hell no, it's all caps all the way. McDonald's is the same way. Any corporation, it's the same way. So when you get your paperwork from corporations and they're addressing you as this corporate name, the all caps, without the knowledge, obviously you don't know, but you must know that they're not talking to you. They're talking to your corporate, your
Hmm.
your person, right? Remember how we said but they're talking to your person. So in my declaration of status, I declare the difference between me and my person. I make sure that it's well known that I am just the beneficiary for my person. I'm the surety, the equitable interest of my person. I'm not my person. So don't charge me with anything that is supposed to be charged, for my person. Look, that's a
Right.
little more complicated, but you already understand the basis of it. That me and this all caps motherfucker, we not the same person at all, or the same being. We're not the same entity at all. And because they combine those two entities, you get in trouble that you're not supposed to get into.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Look, I ain't look. Let me see. You got to, like
So,
I said, keep me on track. Ask me another question. Ask me another question.
Brandon, you got anything interesting you want to throw in there?
Oh no, that just sounds like a literal person, no LLC slash parent company.
Yes, yes, there you go. But did you know everyone was well, Brandon? I'm gonna say this because I guess I didn't know this, but I'm gonna guess that you're not American. Are you American? Are
Hmm.
you are you from America?
Born on Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi. They
You were
got my
born on
information.
you were born on the Air Force base. You know
Yeah,
why that's different? Because that is a
I'm about to say
local.
different from where my mother popped me out. I don't.
Well, let's say this, because you weren't in here for this part. The United States is located within Washington D.C. It's 13 square
Yeah.
miles in Washington D.C. and it's only located there. It's not located anywhere else. The rest of the world, or the rest of the, what we think the United States is called Indian territory or
Yeah, I was here
Indian
for that.
land, right?
In the sense of last podcast, but yeah, I was here for that.
Right. So what that means is if you were not born in Washington D.C., you're not a citizen and you weren't born on their territory. However, Brandon, you were because you were at a military, area, right?
Hmm.
You actually were born on their, you were born in their jurisdiction. That's the word I was looking for. You were born within their jurisdiction. That look, Courtney, that's it right there.
Okay.
Understanding jurisdiction is how you pretty much play this, the long way. Because you're a human, you should understand that you're not under anyone's jurisdiction unless you hurt somebody else. Like no
Okay.
cop, no judge, nobody can bother you unless you hurt somebody else. As we already know, the only way you can go to court is if there's a injured party that's like, hey, that motherfucker did something to me, hurt my property, hurt me, you know what I'm saying, did something to me. But without that being present, then there should never be a reason you go to court. And anytime somebody send you a court document or a court summons or something like that, and there is
Hmm.
no injured party that produced this, you can send a letter letting them know, hey, there's no human on the other side of this as an injured party. I was served this from the state, so I'm not showing up. I'm not jumping into y'all jurisdiction.
So that immediately is a counteraction as far as court orders when in regards to like child support. Everything about child support says, hey, this is a court order that you're going to pay this money. And so
Signed
what
by
you're
who though?
saying is exactly. So it's essentially what you're saying is, hey, there's no hurt party involved, so I really don't have to show because that's their way of saying, hey, you showing up to court and not knowing this is your admission, like, hey, you're taking part in this, basically.
Yes, yes, exactly. The cop gets you with the baby. What's the question that the cop asks to get you under their jurisdiction? What is it?
What's your name? Or give me your documents.
Yeah, yeah. It's basically give me your documents. Once you hand them the things that they ask for, you're basically saying, okay, I'm ready to contract. Like when you roll down that window, all it should be like fucking um Charlie Brown, the parents in Charlie Brown. Every word they say should be, hey, I'm trying to contract. I'm trying to contract. I'm trying to contract. And all you say back to them is, I'm not trying to contract. I don't want to. I don't want to contract. I don't want to contract at all. At all.
A lot of people would say that at that point, which you might be right, and at that point you probably just have to take it to court because the police will probably get violent or physical, want to get physical if you don't roll their window down, you don't do what they say in that moment.
Let me show you what you do with that. So yeah, obviously I always tell people, don't try any of this shit with the cops. They're idiots. They have no idea about none of this shit. Hell, it's not a requirement. However, that does not excuse them from having to pay. That don't
Right.
excuse a fucking thing. So what we have here is a fee schedule. Um, like let's say if if your homegirl did hair, her fee schedule is like $50 for braids, 75 for fucking twists, some shit like that. Well, a fee schedule is quite literally the same thing. It's my notice of intent. I filed this. This is before I took care of any of this, but as you see, like I said, I'm the secured party creditor. I'm the beneficiary. I'm all of the nice words. I'm the beneficiary for that name, the ins legis estate. So you see, if you want my name, okay, well there you go. It costs you that much. All of this. Now anyone can say, well, I made this paper and you have to pay me, by what this paper says. What you do with this paper is you file it with the court. You take it down to your court and you say, "Hey, I want to record something on record." Um, well,
Mm.
they record it in record, and it is law now. No matter what happens, if any of this shit happens, well, they owe you. They legally owe you. They owe you this amount of money.
Hmm.
You have to play that
Okay.
game because like I said, if you pick up the sticks and don't know how to play, you think I'm finna teach you? I'm finna beat your ass. I'm not finna teach you how
Right.
to play. I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm gonna beat the dog shit out of you.
Do most lawyers even know this stuff?
Let me tell you about lawyers, so you can already understand all of that part. A lawyer has to get a bar card. The bar is the British accredited registration. What that means is they have to go to a representative of another country to give them the ability to practice law in this country. That doesn't sound right because it's part of the Constitution that just as long as you are not um I don't know another word, but retarded. Just as long as you are able and like you are sound of mind, you should be able to practice law yourself. I don't know why, well, I know why, but I don't know how they tricked everyone into believing that the only people that can practice law are lawyers. But we find out that all lawyers have to get a bar card, and that bar card means that they are registered to another country. These people are treasonous. That's all it is. They're a bunch of traitors with the whole idea is that fuck them niggas. You know what I'm saying? The whole idea is fuck them niggas. And well, we gotta work together to fuck them niggas. I know that's like, that's skipping a couple chapters in the story, you know what I'm saying? But I promise you that's the answer. The whole answer the entire time is that they want our land, man. They want our country. And they've just been saying fuck them niggas this entire time. Think about that Disney shit. I want you to use what I've taught you just so far, and think about the Disney shit where the dude's wife had died because of the food, right? Well,
Hmm.
instead of suing the human, they decide to sue the company, and Disney is like, well, you can't sue us because per your Disney Plus subscription, you agreed to never sue us. Which I can pretty much show you any contract that I got right here on my computer. They all say that you agree not to sue us, but they also say the arbitration clause. Every fucking last one of them. That's how you know shit be like it's either propaganda or a psyop. Because why are you telling people that Disney can't be sued for killing this man's woman? See,
Hmm.
mediation, arbitration is private. It's non-disclosure agreements all over that shit. So the fact that Disney is coming out saying that, yeah, we can't be sued, everybody's like, oh my God, you can't sue Disney. What do you think all the rest of the companies gonna do? They're gonna say some similar shit. Oh yeah, you can't sue us. You can't sue us. But the whole time, of course you can't sue them. That's a company. You need to go to arbitration with them. Find out what their arbitration clause is. Let's see. See something very simple like AT&T. AT&T arbitration clause. I don't know if y'all can see this. Let me try to zoom. I don't know why it's not zooming. But essentially, I'll read it to you. It says disputes between you and ATT will be resolved through our informal dispute resolution process, individual arbitration, or small claims court. The informal dispute resolution process gives you the opportunity to explain what happened to someone in or working with our legal department. Under the terms of this agreement, AT&T is encouraged to resolve issues early without going any further, aka without having to go to court. Y'all, if they say they're so fucking airtight on this shit, they say we'll pay for the arbitration, we'll pay for the lawyer, or not the lawyer, but the judge that has to be the arbitrator, we'll pay for all of that shit. If you are so sure that we did something wrong, then yeah, take us to arbitration, we'll pay for it, and whatever happens in that, we're not going to have any adverse actions, meaning that like we're not going to close your accounts or nothing like that. We're just going to, adhere to what the arbitration says. That is how you get shit taken care of without having to fucking, do too much. You ain't got to argue with these companies or huff and puff. Get your evidence together, get your proof, and fucking go to arbitration and get your money and live privately with all that money. You don't have to fucking
Mm,
no. Nobody knows anything about it. You know what I'm saying? Get you a nice
okay.
PC. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nigga, I'm not playing, bro. But yes, it's arbitration agreements with all these companies. That's all it is. Look, when it comes to your letter to child support, like I said, you already got your caseworker. I just
Hmm.
want you to get your caseworker, get all of the evidence that you got, like about like what has happened so far, and I want you to do a debt validation letter. um
Okay.
so when you validate debt, let's say Brandon is, car salesman. Brandon sells me a
I
car.
have done that before.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Brandon sells me a
Oh,
car, and
that's a whole different game.
the car is a lemon though. I mean, it's not really all that great, right?
Never in my life will I say that.
But I wouldn't. I mean, I bought the car. You know, what I'm saying, I already bought the car, but it is a lemon, right? And forgot where I was going. God damn it, Brandon.
I'm sorry. You just conjured up the hate that I had being a car salesman, understanding that game. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the best,
Yeah,
worst car salesman, and I
but
was.
you basically were saying if he sells you a lemon
Yeah,
of a car.
Right? No, I forgot where I was going before that. I
that
forgot
you're
where I was
Oh,
going
probably
with the
it's
example.
probably more aiming to of either suing me individually, but more of the company. But if that would technically be the case, we'd be suing, depending on which company it is.
Yeah, if it's a big car lot, like Nissan or anything like that, they have arbitration clauses.
Yeah,
If it's somebody small time, like you can probably drive up to this dude's house once he leaves work. It's probably not an arbitration clause on that. You sue the individual.
yeah.
Um, Essentially, what I was saying back to child support. What you want to do with your case is you want to oh yeah, debt validation. That's what it is. So
yeah.
Brandon is the car salesman. He sells me this nice car. Nothing's wrong with it or whatever. But after I paid off the car, he sends me another bill for 500 for this nice car. I'm just like, what? you know, can you prove to me how this debt came about? He's like, yeah, you said that you were gonna pay me the extra money after you were done paying off the whole car. All right, Brandon. Well, can you fucking show me the contract where I signed to do that? Brandon's like, hell yeah, I'll show you that because he wants his money. You know what I'm saying? He's like, hell yeah. He pulls up the contract with your wet signature, aka that means that that's the original contract, not a copy. The
Hmm.
original contract that you signed between him, and he pulls you, shows you that one line where it says, "Oh, and after I'm done paying for this entire car, I owe Brandon $500." That's how contracts work. Everything works like that.
Hmm.
So when it comes to your, or let's say when it goes back to me and I want him, well, I said it right there, but I didn't explain it. I asked him to validate that debt. Show me. I need to see the original contract. Where I said I would pay that. Show me like where that comes from. The same thing can happen for anybody. When I cleaned up my credit, I was just going to anything that was on there and like, hey, y'all said I owe y'all $615. Well, please show me how I owe y'all that. Show me any, like relevant contracts or paperwork, send it to me, showing that I said that I would pay y'all this. Typically, when debt is sold, I don't know if you know how the debt game works, but after a while, they just sell that shit to another company
Mm-hmm.
so they can do something else. I'll tell you about securities fraud and all that shit later on, because that's where the real money is at, and that's where we get into the part where niggas be like mind blown, because all of us are stupid fucking rich already. But when they sell debt, they're basically selling your information. You didn't say that it was okay for them to sell this contract to another company. You didn't say that it was okay for them to give your information out. So since they're doing that incorrectly, it's all kinds of money that's involved. But that's what's happening. They when somebody say you owe me, more than likely it's somebody new who just bought this debt from somebody else. It's like, yeah,
Right.
you owe me now. All you ask them to validate the debt, they can't. It stops. It's not the same thing as me and Brandon because I bought the car from Brandon. But what about if Courtney now got the contract from Brandon and Courtney's like, I need that 500. It's like, nigga, I ain't signed no contract with you saying I pay you that after I paid off the car. I signed it with Brandon. And if he ain't asking for it, then what you doing? So that's how you validate that with these companies. If you want to get your child support validated, you hit the caseworkers line with a letter saying, "Hey, y'all say that I am this much in arrears. I would like for this debt to be validated." Well, I ain't gotta teach you slow like that. We got the AI. You know what I'm saying? You
Mm-hmm.
just go back to the AI and tell it, "Hey, write me a debt validation letter for child support." And you obviously put in whatever other little details that you need to put in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whatever other details, but the letter is a debt validation letter. You send them
Okay.
that. If they have the contract that says that they can, take this money from you, then they'll send it back. But if they don't, then they are legally required to settle the debt with you, basically by erasing it. That's just one of the ways you can
Mm.
go through it. You can go through the court through an appeal process. That might take some time, or you can go through the court and talk to the judge that set that obligation up. Like, hey, Mr. Judge, um, first of all, I would like for you to recite your oath of office for me. Mr. Judge is like, shit, I'm not going to say my oath. That's when you tell the court, for the record and on the record, I asked the judge to recite his oath, and he cannot do that for me. And we know that that's part of his responsibilities as a judge. That if anyone asks you to, review your oath of office, just to make sure that it is updated and like on point and shit, you're supposed to recite it. If you can't do that, then you relinquish your ability to be a judge in this case. Case closed. Child support closed. Um, what else can you do? Fucking you can call the Secretary of State. His name is Trey Hargrit for Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Not call him, but send him a letter. Obviously, like I told you, only in ink. You send him a letter saying, "Hey, I've been paying on my child support, but I haven't seen my subrogation. I haven't been refunded anything yet. I've just been paying with no refund. Matter of fact, I'll use the car as an example for that one, because if you go read any car contract that you've ever paid, you'll see that it says in the contract that they will refund you all of the money that you paid for this contract. I bet you money if anybody got a car note and they go ask they car company for the original contract, they won't give it to you. They gonna give you some Rudy Poo ass shit that ain't that contract. They gonna give you whatever else they can. They gonna suck your dick before they give you that contract because it got sold already. They
Mm.
sold that motherfucker, and that contract shows you who paid for the car. Even though you might still be paying on the note, because you don't know enough, you're paying on the fucking note, but the contract shows you the fiduciary responsibilities, and it shows that this transaction happened between the car company and you. But the
Mm.
bank is telling you, hey, we the ones paid for it, and you got to pay us back. That's the loan. You got to pay us back because we paid for the car. But the contract says that the fiduciary responsibility only happened between you and the car company. So per the contract, no loan ever happened. The car was paid for when I left that day. I don't owe anybody a fucking dollar.
Okay. Yeah, that's like I'm feeling it because I definitely interested in the debt consolidation part of it because okay, so Brandon and audience, this is essentially how this started. I'll just tell them about my
Excuse me.
situation. Um, I have a daughter that I'm currently dealing with child support with over. She lives out of state. They moved out of state in 2014, so I've been on child support since 2014. Um, I was going through it. They've taken tax money, they've taken whole checks from me and stuff like that. Even at times where I was just getting a job, I'm trying to, get myself together around those early years. 2017, it was supposed to be closed. My baby mom, she wrote a letter to them, and essentially they shut it down. Sent me a letter saying they shut it down. 2017. Fast forward to last year, 2023. They reopened it somehow. Now I know my daughter's mom. Like I said, she's living in states. She went from California to Colorado. She had been receiving benefits. But 2023 they magically opened it, and evidently not only did they reopen it, but they've been charging me since 2017, even though they told me this is over with. So when they reopened it, they're saying I owe $45,000 in arrears because they
Child
have been
support is
charging
ran by
every month.
different people. Like every so often a different vendor buys the child support contract, and they become the child support enforcement office. I only know that because my wife's sister works at child support, and recently she was like, "Yeah, we going through a whole thing because we're switching vendors." And the reason why everything I've taught you about the debt stuff comes in handy here is because now you know that it isn't the same company. The reason why your shit was reopening because it wasn't even the same people that she told them, "Hey, I don't want this shit to." It becomes a whole different new company. It's still
Ah,
under the same name though, and now they don't know anything about that. That's why you have to have that certified mail always handy. Because I got receipts of any letter I've ever. Let me show y'all. Let me show you this fucking
right.
certificate.
I see that. Yeah, that's why. Unfortunately, I don't have the letter that they sent in 2017. That was, some years ago. But I mean, ever since they've reopened it, I've kept every piece of mail that they have sent.
Oh wait, I'm not on Chrome.
But yeah, they reopened it, put threw it on my credit, said I owe $45,000, and now up to this point, because I have not paid them, they have, they're saying, hey, they're going to suspend my license.
That's an adverse action. You need to let them know that. Well, you basically need to let them know that they don't have that ability, and you know that because what this is considered is an adverse action, and y'all can't infringe on my rights with adverse actions because I didn't pay a debt. Like what are
Mhm.
in school? This question would get proposed as what are the rules for when somebody doesn't pay a debt? Well, let's ask Google. Can you go to jail if you don't pay a debt? It's gonna say hell no because essentially that shit was outruled a long time ago. Let's see. See, can you? I got the blunt in my hand.
Bill
can
of
you?
night.
Can you? God damn it! Can you go to jail? Not.
That's how you know it's serious right there. Got the blood in his hand, messing up typing. Loving it.
All right. So, um, blah 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 blah. Don't like I said, don't let the stuff fool you. What all you really looking for is the baseline, like the real law. Can you go to jail for unpaid debt? I forgot what it was, but I know that you can't. I know that there was they took that out of law a long time ago. Oh, yeah, it is. Boom.
I, I was gonna be like, mm,
You can't
depending
go
on
to
the debt,
jail
but
for
no.
unpaid debts.
I'm about to say unless it's something that's a super high to a point where it's past what $25,000, and then that actual be a problem from there where you're going up higher. I don't think any state, let alone federal, would even withhold that. So no,
Exactly. Brandon, do you know that the federal supersedes the state?
in a lot of cases, yes.
In all cases, federal always will supersede state. No matter what a state says, that's why this is important. A state can tell you that you need a license to have a gun, but the federal told you a long time ago that anyone has the right to bear arms. You see what I'm saying? The federal always supersedes state. Now, you never let the state trick you into believing something. So the state is, obviously the one controlling child support, and they telling you that yeah, you can go to jail if you don't pay this debt. But as we see right here, that is called debtor's prison, and debtor's prisons was outlawed by Congress in 1833 before they even got here, before the fake de facto government got here. That was done out way before then. So no, you cannot go to jail for owing unpaid debt. Okay, what about the driver's license? Um,
Suspension, yes.
but you see how I'm doing this. You see how I find this stuff. It's quite simple. It's not even all that hard. Can you
Google's your friend. Been saying that for years.
But
right?
essentially, that's why I said
More than knowledge, but yeah.
I've already saw that that's their workaround, right? When it comes to child support, because child support essentially, like you said, it's unpaid debt. You can't take someone to jail for unpaid debt. So essentially, what they say is, hey, once you went to court, we court ordered child support. So no, you're not going to jail for the unpaid debt. You're going to jail for going against the court order. So you're essentially held in contempt. You go to jail for contempt.
Well, what you have to make sure is that a judge made that court order. A magistrate can't make a court order for a human to follow. Only a judge can, and only judges that exist are in the Supreme Courts. All the rest of these motherfuckers are magistrates. Bullshit, you not.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, yeah. So this is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act is the only thing that you really have to look into for like debt collection practices. If you need to know what they can and can't do, it's all governed by that. They might make you think it's governed by something else, but like I said, it's only a couple things out there. The Fair Credit Reporting Act, the Fair Credit and Debt, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, the fucking Freedom of Information Act. It's only a couple of them. It's not even that many, but that really what controls how you live your life. And once you learn those, what can and can't be done, like I said, it's all this other shit is butter, bro. All this shit is butter. Oh, let me go to CFPB. Let me go to
Hmm.
CFPB. Let me get that out the way. See, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Random. I know that's very random. Is somebody blowing up on Discord right now?
Discord.
Okay. I was wondering. I was like, I'm going crazy. I was like, nah, that's probably not. And I was like, nah, I know I'm hearing this.
That's
So
I know mine does that all night too.
this John here, this website is one of the number one places you go to report, things that's happened that you don't want to happen. When your credit report is published, the Experian and all them, not only are they not the only bureaus, but they're not even bureaus. They're just agencies. Now, the reason why that's important is because a bureau is federally protected, and an agency is just a company. As we're learning, it's been a bunch of companies that's been fucking us, not any federal people, just companies. Did y'all know that there exists an IRS and an Internal Revenue Service? Did y'all know that?
There exists an IRS,
An IRS and an Internal Revenue Service.
separate entities.
Separate entities, exactly. So, yeah, I can't remember what show it is, but like, just imagine something like DC superheroes. All the heroes show up to town, and the villains, they're just copies of these same heroes show up to town, same names, everything's the same except they got the glowing red eyes, like like I can't remember that Superman, it's a Bizarro Superman, the Bizarre World, that is it. Okay, so you got all these Bizarre World creatures. That is all of these companies. Now you don't know the difference between the characters, so when you do your taxes, are you sending it to the IRS or the Internal Revenue Service? It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, all you're looking for is just a little bit of money back. the money is coming out your account, but you don't know what account it is. You just like, yeah, I just want a little bit of money for a tax return or what you believe is a tax return.
Mm-hmm.
But who you send it to, it doesn't even matter. You're just sending it out and hoping for a little bit of chump change back. They making so much money off of any paper you send in. Any paper you send in, that's a registered security. But I'll start a complaint here. I'll show you how this works real quick. So for you, credit reporting or personal consumer reports, if y'all ain't got y'all Nexus Lexus yet and clean that motherfucker up, you should do so. No, Nexus Lexus is your consumer report and not your credit report. Your consumer report has so much more shit on it. I mean, like so, so much more shit. They knew about something I had got in trouble in school, and it was on this report, and I'm just like, who the fuck is pulling up this report and seeing? Yeah, you know what? Why would you need to see this? But I promise you, your consumer report is all out there. A couple companies have it, but LexisNexis is one of the number ones that you do. But you tell them that, hey, these niggas fucked up my credit report. Like, all right, what's wrong with your credit report
Mm-hmm.
or debt collection? You see it right there, but we'll talk about that part later. This is for the credit cleanup. You could just say incorrect information on there if like anytime, like let's say on mine they had my name on there, but then they had my name spelled incorrectly. Then they had my name with like another last name that wasn't my name. I'm just like, what the fuck? I got that shit removed with this, and it gave me like 15 points. Like I think it was like 5 points per thing that was fucked up. Um, just anything that isn't your current information. Like you should never have more than one address, more than one name, more than one phone number, anything like that. It should only be in your current information. And if it's not, you just use this to settle that. Um, Now this one here, if you get something that says your all caps name, but not your name spelled the way that you spell your name, the way that your birth certificate spells your name. If you get something that spells your name not the same way, that's identity theft, and you mark it as that. I mean, have you tried to fix the problem with the company? They lie all the time, so I be lying on here. Yes, I tried to fix it with the company. Did you request information from the company? Yeah, I requested some information from the company. What would you always request is a debt validation letter. Hey, I'm trying to validate this debt, so I can know that it belongs on my credit report. Um, and you just say you sent it to them and that they didn't respond to you. Did
Mm-hmm.
these motherfuckers did not answer me.
In that
Let me
case.
So when you get to this part is basically asking you what happened. You know what I'm saying? Just tell me what happened. Now, you don't want to put anything personal in here, but you just want to tell them what went on. So the other day when I had to talk to when I had to do this for Experian and TransUnion and all of them, I basically realized that they weren't giving me my credit score. Because I had basically been going in on their ass and shit. Like I've been studying enough of this law shit that I've been going off on everybody. And obviously I was learning, I was acting too fast before I learned the full like thing and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just out here stepping on toes. You want to act in good faith. You don't want to be no gremlin, no menace or nothing. It does make you angry once you find out everything that's going on. Like, hey, nigga, my mama lived poor most of our lives because all of the bills that she had to pay, but she didn't know that we didn't have to pay bills. You know what I'm saying? That we
Mm-hmm.
never were supposed to pay these bills. You get what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's easy to be angry at these people, but you still have to act in good faith. And I'm basically cleaning up a lot of bad faith shit I was doing. Just you know, this is the good faith that they have. If you express good faith, they will express good faith. Brandon, you seeing this?
I am.
I'll take a quick read. 31 USC 3123 payment of obligations and interest on the public debt. The faith of the United States government is pledged to pay in legal tender. The reason why that in legal tender part is right there is because the greenbacks that y'all call money isn't legal tender. That is emergency funds that was issued from Roosevelt's Emergency Banking Act. and they were supposed to go away, but apparently the emergency never went away, so we're still using those. But it says the government is pledged to pay in legal tender, principal, and interest, meaning that from beginning to end, that's what those two words mean. Principal and interest. So principal is the beginning debt, and interest is any amount accrued on it to the end of its lifetime on the obligations of the government issued under this chapter. The Secretary of Treasury shall pay interest due or accrued on the public debt as the Secretary considers expedient. The Secretary may pay in advance interest on the public debt by a period of not more than a year with the release of rebate of interest on the coupons. Now, what that is talking about is whenever you get a piece of paper to your house from your mailbox and you call it a bill, if you look down at the bottom of the bill, that's called a remittance coupon. Now, what that means is you notice they always send your bill with a fucking return,
Where to send it
yeah,
to?
yeah. But why none of us fucking read, Courtney? Why none of us fucking read? What they want you to do is authorize this for payment and send it back.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you authorize paper for payment and send it back? Let me see if it's in here somewhere. It should be right around here. Requirements for endorsement. That's that's it right there. The same coupons that we were just talking about. Just talking about. So I'm not fucking making it up. And as you see, this is from Cornell Law, the Legal Information Institute. For coupons, unmatured coupons attached to restrictively endorsed securities should be canceled by imprinting the prescribed endorsement in such manner that a substantial portion. I'll just show you what that looks like instead. Figma. Oh wait. Figma. Do y'all know what an endorsement is? Have y'all ever heard that?
Yeah, as far as like, say, hey, I endorse this business. I endorse this, in terms of, I've heard this in terms of that.
That's low key. That's
Give me
I ain't
something
gonna
new.
lie to you. That's low key what it means. I'm like that's low key what I'm looking for. It's like when you're endorsing your bills, what they're sending you is, hey, this is how much interest was accrued, and as we see, it says that they're gonna pay the principal and the interest, the beginning debt balance and the interest on that debt balance. So if you want them to pay for it, you have to endorse it. And which one is this? This is just a little tool that it's a little art tool, like instead of Photoshop. Because I don't have a stamp to like do the endorsement with, I was doing that motherfucker like this. Don't make fun of me. But
All right.
so uh,
I had the MLGW bill.
boy,
Ooh.
as you see up at the top left, you can see let me see, control zoom. This is the stamp right there. That's it. For presentation to the United States Treasury fiscal agent of the yeah, y'all see the shit, god damn it.
Hmm.
And then the other one was the other endorsement. Oh no, I took the other one off. I think I left the other one on. uh, what is this one? Boom, there it is. On this fucking AT&T joint. Anybody see the flipper? Uh, position.
Yeah, that worked.
Okay, so it's up here at the top. Oh wait, that's the wrong goddamn. But you see, they did one themselves. That's just an endorsement signature for they shit. But you get what I'm saying. I created this as an endorsement for the like my endorsement stamp for me to sign off on my bills. Now man, I got the shit all right there. Courtney, you gonna have to blur, man. We go. Hey,
But
look, you can't post this episode. You gotta keep this one in the books, man. But
I said you got to edit this
it's,
out.
it's gonna be subscriber only.
all
Right,
right.
right.
But
It's on Patreon.
but you see that's the stamp that I need just for something to be able to be endorsed. So like a check, like a check is when you flip
Hmm.
that check over on the back, it says like something to this effect, and it gives you the line to sign your name. That's the only way something can be submitted that way. And if we go back to this, it teaches us how to endorse. Don't worry about the bearer securities and stuff. Like I said, I'll teach you about securities and stuff later on. But you see it's right there though.
Hmm.
When securities are to be presented to the Bureau of Fiscal Service, the words United States Treasury should be used in lieu of the Federal Reserve Bank. Because if I show you any of these old documents, like when I was learning this stuff, I had to like pull up like a bunch of people's examples and shit from back in the day. People been doing this shit for a long time, y'all. They just hide it. They obviously hide it from us. But that's what they used to have to write on their securities is Federal Reserve Bank of America, fiscal agent of the United States, yada yada. But now you put the United States Treasury instead. As y'all saw on mine, it literally did say United States Treasury. Um, Man, look, I done went all the way left field. That's why this shit is hard because if you look at my law folder, I have learned a lot, y'all. I mean, I have learned a lot. These are straight documents that either I have created or I've downloaded from places like learning about it. Like these are all just law codes that I was just learning all for this stuff. Um, if you send in a security that you created, like when you pay your bill the correct way, if they do anything to it, there you go. Boom. That's what that is right there. If you are, let me see, forms of when presented by banks, I don't know, I was just learning all this shit, man. Uh, but yeah, this shit is hard to explain to somebody because I've learned so much of it in so many different sections and shit. Because I was all over the place when I first started learning this shit. But
Hmm.
now that like if you ask me about how does this work, this specific thing, I can tell you about that all day. But if you give me the reins, boy, I done learned so much of this shit. I promise you, man. I couldn't keep it to one thing. I'd be all over the place. This is the EFT, the Electronic Fund Transfer Act. I know that comes from that. Let me show you. Let me see if I got. Here's my FOIA right here. Uh, This is what it looks like, Brandon, when they send you back. Even though there's a part of it that I learned afterwards that I didn't, obviously I wasn't going back and doing it again. But when I learned this, damn, I don't know why it won't zoom. But when I learned this, I didn't learn about this next part of it until later. But essentially, this is what they'll send you back saying that, hey, in response to your request of, like your records, which was my birth certificate in 994, your I-94 is your status and stuff. You fill
Hmm.
one out when you do for a job and shit. But when I asked them, hey, what is my citizenship status? What I got back was you probably can't see it because I can't zoom, but it says no records. There is no the CNR, no records. So this is it's signed by Jared Panther, the acting chief FOIA officer. This is from they shit. It says that hey, there's no records of my United States citizenship, so I don't don't treat me like a citizen. Don't act like I'm a fucking citizen. Citizens got all kinds of rights taken away. Not me. I'm an American national. Something like this is your. I'll show you my declaration of status. This is heavy and hardcore. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know what your time at. See, all of the stuff that they've done came from Roosevelt's Emergency War Powers Proclamation. All this shit that they've done, all this bullshit that got us living incorrectly, they got our people fucking acting like buffoons out here and shit. It was all done because they wanted some land and they wanted some money, and they found motherfuckers that was more than willing to give it to them.
So I'm interested if any one of y'all could tell me exactly how do I get to the AI part of it, exactly what you were showing earlier, like to get that letter.
Oh,
Cause I
Chat GPT.
ChatGPT.
just type it in
Yeah,
and like Google.
yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, because I definitely am gonna do that this week.
You got
I
a free version of that one, and then also you have a um the part where 4.0 is now the I think the pushed out version, and now they have a Jet GPT Plus, and
Hmm.
that's even a lot more in depth.
okay, okay, yeah, because I'm definitely gonna do that this week, man. I know probably Tuesday, right? Tuesday, Monday, holiday. Yeah, because it's wartime. It's wartime. I think it was very very slimy of them, and even if in the case of what you said, Akira, hey, they are. It's another company that picked up this contract. They don't know
Hmm.
anything about what happened in 2017. I still think it's a slimy practice.
But it's still slamming no matter what. So.
Yeah. If the Supreme Court has already ruled this shit to be unconstitutional, anytime that you're still doing this shit, especially not telling people that it's just a service. You don't have to take this service. They make you feel like that's the only choice you have. And they only do it to women when they get on fucking food stamps and shit. Oh, you on food stamps? That must mean you need some help. Well, we'll help you attack your man if you want us to. What the fuck?
So is that could you do that over the phone? Like say my daughter's mom, because she maybe I tell her this information, she says, okay, well, I'm gonna call them and tell them I don't want your service. That drops it.
So you are in a lucky situation if you are able to, converse with the said mother. Yeah, if you can get her to, and no, don't do anything over the phone. What's the phrase? Companies don't talk or think; they just read blue and black ink. All right, you don't do
Okay.
shit on the phone. You send these letters and you send that shit certified so you can get receipts of it. You need receipts of everything, everything. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you.
And actually, yes, that phrase is that one. Anytime you have to deal with something and also involving legal, if you have to, even record it if you have to. That it's if
If you
they already,
record, you have to let them know. That's
but they
all.
already, but they already infringed off your rights. You can write back. You can hit that right back if it's already a infringement on that one. So
This is my certified mail. This is the receipt. Um, this website holds the signature. Let me see. Or just the what's the name? See, the signature of the motherfucker that signed for it, and the letter. This is me telling who is this? Discover. I think Dan Capozzi was the head man of Discover. They basically denied me credit, which I know you can't do. I know you don't have the ability to do such. And oh no, this let's see, blah blah blah. Oh no, they just had some bad stuff on my credit, and I charged them for it. My federally protected consumer right under 15 USC 1681. All right, let's go see what that is. I don't remember by heart. Damn, my fucking mouse sensitivity is killing me, man.
Playing some games, man.
All right, so it's 1681A3. So the restriction on sharing medical information. What? Why would I put that there? I didn't put that there. Oh, I didn't do that right, but clearly, clearly, y'all see how you supposed to do it. I didn't do it right at first. But I was supposed to reference. Uh, wait, where is it? 1681 A3 A3. Where is A3?
Somebody's cat's mad.
Yeah, man, like some badass kids, bro.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know, but I know this is part of. Remember, I was telling you about adverse actions. If you apply for credit somewhere and they deny you, that is an adverse action. The reason why is because you applying for credit and you are the creditor. I know that that's going into more things, but you applying for credit and going and they denying you credit is an adverse action. They can't tell you no. They can only say that do you have the capacity to contract for credit? And if you can say the word yes, then you do. So they have to give you credit. Anytime you apply for anything that's credit based, they don't have the capacity to deny you at all. Ah, God damn it. I didn't what is this right here? Okay. The term state or local child support enforcement agency means a state or local agency with which administers a state or local program for establishing or enforcing child support obligations. So there is no actual state or local child support enforcement agency. They only mean a state or local. You know, it makes sense because Tennessee Child Support Enforcement Agency is under the Department of Human Services. You won't find the child support agency, like the enforcement agency, at all. You will only find the Department of Human Services or the one of those, like sister buildings, the like the one on Mendenhall and shit. But that obviously those buildings can't do anything for you. If you went to them and was like, hey, y'all are violating my rights, you know what I'm saying? I need to be paid. Like you see, I sent this nigga the invoice and shit. Usually if you want to be paid, you send invoices. um, I want to be paid. You can't take it to one like that spot on Mendenhall. They're not gonna know what to do with that. You need to send it to
Hmm.
the who it actually goes to. And I promise you that it's gonna be hard to find who who you need to send a letter to when it's talking about child support. That's why I said if you got your person's name or anything, nigga, you winning.
Hmm.
Because it's hard to find these motherfuckers. Hard to find anything on them. That's why they use these ghost names like Child Support Enforcement Agency. Like nigga, what is the name of this place for real though? What do y'all do here? It's true. These folks will
Okay.
get bought out by vendors, man.
So I'm definitely I'm very interested. So I'm definitely gonna do this. Put some of this into action. Everything in letter. Do this letter
Right?
by letter.
Everything in little. Like I said, your process will be, and I'm still here for help because I obviously I went through the hard part of doing a bunch of incorrect stuff first and then learning correctly. You know what I'm saying? I was impatient. I really wanted results. I wanted something, some kind of results to prove to me that this stuff was real. Even though I'm learning from the legal institute, the Legal Information Institute, it still seemed so far fetched to just a hood kid from Memphis. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a hood nigga from Memphis.
Hmm.
I don't really know if this shit real or not. Nobody ever told me about it. So
Hmm.
I had to test. I had to hurry up and test the shit, and lo and behold, the shit is fucking real, man.
Woodale, stand up.
Mine will they'll stand up. I'm telling you,
He
telling
said,
you,
"What did stand up?"
telling you, man. Council maniacs
See, this is
to the.
actually the reason why I don't shun people uh, who look into either conspiracy theories or anything like that. It's because at the base you're trying to find the truth. Find the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Continue, because it's
Mm-hmm.
not like And this one conversation we had before is not like somebody's going to give you all the information that you need to know on everything. There's something that's either being left out, manipulated, or something like that. And if you want to know the truth, then just get the tools and resources to get that one.
Yeah, you have no idea how right you are. The people that was teaching this shit, obviously they want money. Obviously the nobody's out here living free. They want money. So as they were teaching us this stuff, they would only give you like 60% of the data, and then they spoon feed it to you. And like as soon as you're like, but where's the rest of it? I need to know more so I can be free. Get these people off my ass. Well, you have to pay, sign up for this, or pay for my class, or some goofy shit like that.
Yeah.
As you see, what I learned to do was simply go straight down the line, go to the law, go to the Supreme Court case law, which decides what is constitutional, and I mean not constitutional, but like lawful. They decide what's lawful and what's unlawful, what can be enforced and what can't be enforced. And once I learned how to look into they shit, look up the law myself, I realized that nigga, they doing this stuff in our face. They're doing it in your face because they know you're not gonna do shit about it. They know that 99% don't know anything about this shit. And once you do know anything about it, you're probably too afraid to even do anything. I've taught a lot of people this shit, and I haven't heard of anyone that had the nuts to go down to the courtroom and be like, "Man, suck my dick. I know you can't do anything to me. You a public servant. You work for me. When did you start telling me what to do? Stop playing with me." And going to jail? Who is afraid of jail once you learn the law? The law states that you can't be taken to jail unless you did some type of incredible shit. I ain't doing no incredible shit while driving down the street. So if I get pulled over, what am I afraid of going to jail for? You see how crazy this sound? Y'all finna go? Oh, hold on, y'all. Hold on.
So Brandon, man, what you thinking so far? What you heard, man?
So a wide range of thoughts goes everywhere because I'm not saying I'm doing the same thing, but I
Right.
do have that the itch for knowledge of understanding. Okay, what's this? Or taking taking consideration, I'm in IT. I look at things off the lens of IT of saying there's a problem, what a solution, how many solutions are there, how can I prevent this, how can I recreate it? Usually these questions are usually going through my head almost every particular time. So thinking of
Hmm.
situations, thinking of problems, thinking of cases, entities, anything that's around that one. I was like, okay, this where it matched, this where it matched, this how I move this. This is like I have that same want of understanding of information or knowledge. That's how I'll just be like, oh, okay, cool. I can sit back, listen, and understand.
Right.
But then
Okay.
also, I don't have any kids, so that's even worse in the situation. So I just be like, whew, thank God I don't have any kids right now to have to worry about this at the second.
Hmm.
But it's good to know because there might be a bunch of people around you whose lives are being ruined by this shit.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
You don't, being, I dealt with it myself. Uh, being with that shit, it doesn't really have an out for you. All you get told is that, oh, you done fucked around and had a kid. Good luck paying for that shit for the rest of your life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it feels. There's
Yeah.
no way out of this. Like,
You
I've
already in
been forced
jail.
to pay for something. Yeah, I'm already in jail. I'm being forced to pay for something that I can't even afford yet. Even though, yes, obviously you should take care of your children. If you can't afford a child, don't have a child. Nobody's saying anything against that. It's not always that black and white.
you know the
Nowhere
crazy
Mhm.
near
thing
that
is,
black and
And
white.
when it's 20 to 30% of your income, and it's
I
really a
Bruh.
lot. That's
I
a
really
lot.
actually don't like that phrase when some people are saying there's like, well, if you can't afford a child, don't have a child. Those same people I asked, it's like, okay, so how much is a child? And they was like, okay, here's a rough estimate. I was like, okay, you know it can be higher than that. They
Hmm.
were like, well, yeah, in certain situations, yeah. How would you know
Three
those
hundred thousand.
certain situations? You don't. Child
before
comes
the
out,
kid get here.
child's deformed. Now I got to pay this for the rest of my life. Like it's more adding on things from
Hmm.
this one. Like it can be a literal anything. So I was like, so how much money do I need to have a child?
Oh
And then
yeah, it definitely alters. It definitely
I
alters.
like
I
that.
had autistic daughter, so it like
exactly
you say,
autism. It
it
could
alters.
be anything. So I was like, why are you telling me? Well, if you're too broke, don't have a child. What is the blueprint?
Yeah,
What's the amount?
it, I guess they thinking they man, you just got to be rich or well
So
off.
even with that being said,
Right. You just got
let's
to
say
be
I'm
rich.
rich, but then 9 months later something else happens. Guess what? I was rich, now I'm not. So you telling me now 9 months later I shouldn't have a child?
Hey,
like
you own it. You own it. I like that. I like that. I
Right.
like that a lot. You own it. You
I
own
just
it.
use that logic and it's just like that I know what you mean by that, but on the flip side of it, it makes no sense of how you're saying this.
Right. I personally don't feel that way, but you have to address it like that just in case other people, they be what people's usual answers to me are. If I say, hey, I don't think we should be imposed all of this tax just for having a child. Like I think
Yeah.
sometimes it was sexual activity between a man and a woman and the child got here, but the man should be fucking up, and now you're put on a payment schedule, and if you miss that motherfucker, we're gonna take your license. If you take your license, we're gonna take you to jail. If we catch you riding, we catch you driving to work, we're gonna take you to jail because we took your license because you couldn't afford to pay for it. You see the cycle is it's
That's the
Hmm.
logic that burns me just listening to just understanding other people. They'd be like, okay, so you take my license away, I have to pay for that. If I couldn't pay for this in the first place, what makes you think
right.
I can
Oh,
pay your fees
and don't
for
let
this
you
to get that back?
and
Who pay more?
and don't let you have a job that's dependent on you having a license.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
the whole point is that they
Y'all
want
fucking
to
up
take a
y'all
bunch
money.
of black men and destroy them. I know that
Yeah.
I might be fucking red herring it with that one, but like nigga, I promise you that at the end of the day, all of that was set up because we are do all right. Let, let me bring the mic in. All right.
Okay. Every time he brings that mic in, you know.
Y'all know that our people have children like rabbits. We can have
Mhm.
children. Our women stay fertile, what I'm saying, for years, nigga. I mean literally early on and late out the door. You know what I'm saying? That's how fertility works with our women and our men. Hell, I think it don't stop with our men. I think honestly we straight to death, could be on deathbed and I ain't shooting out no blanks, right? The reason why that's important is because we know that's not the same for everyone. We know that the um Caucasian, you know, they have trouble having children. When they have a child, they call it a miracle baby because they couldn't have children. They're not able to reproduce like we can. That's why taking over our land is so hard to do. Not only does the sun power us up and all of the plants and stuff around, all this shit it coexists with us. So taking us out of that element is kind of hard to, or destroying us while we're in this element. It's kind of hard to do. And then the all skipping that, all of the multitude of ways they try to take us out, it will never work because our birth rate is insane, the most insane in the world. Now, with that being said, they don't have that birth rate. They don't have this ability. They need to be able to fucking reproduce a lot to take over an entire country's worth of people. Even though they kill us, poison us, all kinds of shit, they still can't beat us in that birth rate. The whole reason why they got rid of Planned Parenthood was because the white people were using it more than us. It's like, wait a second. That's not what we set that up for. We want them to get rid of their babies because we don't, we can't take over when it's still 1,000,000 to 1. When they moved in over here, they moved in 1,000,000 people, and it was still 1,000,000 to 1. You know what I'm saying? So they can't, they don't, they're pretty much stuck. So now instead of beating you, stopping you from being born, they just make they separate the man and the woman. We already explored how they done that, how they been doing that and how they consistently do it. Today, it's all about separating the man and the woman, but they also make the man's life fucking complete shit with this child support shit. This is not even that hard. How is a man's life harder than a woman's life? Well, men typically, grow up, having to do a lot in the household. They become the man of the house and all this goofy shit and all that. All that stuff was forced. That's not natural. It was forced by y'all. Y'all basically forced the man out of the house so the woman could get fucking food stamps, yada yada. So now that creates the hard life for the young man growing up in that shit. As soon as he becomes an adult and he fucks, that's all, the most natural shit you can do besides fapping. You fuck and you have a child, and they tell you that because you did that, you owe us. You like, how I owe y'all? I fucked her. Well, she needed a little money, but because she needed that money, now you owe us because you had sex. And because you owe us, nigga, now you poor and can't afford anything in life. Your only out is criminal activity because unless you really ready to work three fucking jobs, which they gonna tax and tax again when they take the child support out of it, you never gonna make it. At that point, if with modern child support, if you want to be able to work and enjoy your life still and be still in the child's life, because if the child don't live with you, they designate men to be on the weekend. But if you got child support, your ass definitely working the weekend. You got good enough child support to pay your bills to live a good life. You definitely work the weekend. But when do you get a chance to see the child? You see how they fuck your life from one single action. Go all the way back, and you'll realize everything in your life derailed when child support started.
Hmm.
Welcome to my TED talk.
That was the TED talk for the life
Hey,
right there.
listen, that's why I'd be saying it. I equate them to a pimp, you know. And they women, all these women are, they workers, they working girls. You smash one of them, hey, you owe me, player.
Yeah, you took her
You
out the
know,
game. You took her
yeah,
out the
you
game for nine
took out the
months.
game. Yeah, you owe me, player.
That's what arrears is. That's what that back child support is. You took her out the game
Hmm.
for 9 months. I need that.
I need that, exactly. I need that. Don't care how you got to get it, but give me my money.
That's crazy. But because of the way they programmed everybody else to look at this shit, you will never be able to say this in a public setting. You could never say, "Hey, y'all set up child support just to ruin," what I'm saying, American Indian men. Y'all did that just to ruin us, and no, y'all just want to avoid taking care of your child. It's like, when did our men get associated with not taking care of their children? Was it when they forced us out of the home, or was it when they were locking us up for nothing? Like,
I
at
think
what point?
I, that's a lot of layers to that. How we came to posters, the poster men for that. Essentially, there
Yep.
was that. That was when this stuff was enacted, and what families were. I guess more because more white people are on government assistance and stuff and like this. Because it just is. But we are the faces of the degenerate parts of it. So when you think child support, you think black people, you think black fathers not taking care of their kids. You don't even think white men, even though that stigma belonged to white people for the longest. It was said that hey, white men, dad left for a pack of smokes and never came back,
Yeah,
or
we
left
couldn't
for
do
some
that
milk
shit.
and
We
never
couldn't
came back.
afford that life. What
Yeah,
nigga could
and
afford that life?
now we're the poster of that. And it's so funny. And then even with child support numbers, if people want to look at it from there are people who do look at like you pay your child support, you taking care of your responsibility. Black men are number one in that still, but we're
Yep.
still looked at like we don't take care of our kids.
I was just about to go with statistics off that one. I was like,
Yeah,
there's no statistics showing that any black man as a whole, black men are second, third, fourth, or fifth
no,
place.
we're first,
We are first place in almost
but we
any
still
category when it comes with supporting the child, even in or out of relationships. So that's including in marriage and not being single as well. Single father, we're in the child's life more than anybody else. But black men have the stigma of not taking care of their kids because
exactly.
because you hear it all the time. It was the rag the riches storyline. It was the my mother had to do this by herself storyline. Like that's promoted,
And
and it's
Yeah.
also
promoted because
another layer of why we have that. I don't know if y'all going, it is true though, is our women
Yes.
and
yeah.
the spreading of that messages to put that stigma on us.
Nigga, they the ones that sold us out. They're like, if you ain't heard
So
my
I was about to say that spreading following.
Oh,
So
they
I
spread it too.
so
When you
they're spreading, but they're following. That's the full thing from them. So off the start of that one, it's pretty much I gave you a poison, and at one point you're starting to sell that poison instead of just saying, "Hey, this is poison." You just go along with it. You're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is cool. I'm gonna give this to somebody else. It's cool. It's gonna." You're just following now. You're
hmm
instead of just looking like, wait a minute, this isn't right, or this
hmm
isn't making me feel right. This just feels something I feel like I have to do.
and like
Art,
Omega said, hey, they sold us out.
They sold us out, man.
in which I'll always, I mean, y'all hear me. I go not saying both sides, but I always understand from both sides because I like hearing everybody's understanding from this. Are there people who don't take care of their kids? Yes. Are
Yes.
there women who purposely do this one to be vindictive from a relationship? Yes.
Yes.
Question is now, where do we meet? What do we fix? How can we go forward?
Well, I think
passing
it's
that
women.
passing that poison around doesn't do it. So
I think it's still at the women. I think it starts at home. It starts with having better relationships between black men and black women, and it also takes some integrity from our women. It just to say, hey, listen, I'm gonna work with this man I had this child with. I'm gonna tell him the situation and we're gonna work together. I'm not going to involve the government and make this situation cause more turmoil than it has to be.
yeah,
It takes some integrity. It's like I'm not gonna sell drugs to my people.
Facts, facts. Black,
yeah.
man, boy.
Take your drugs. I'm not selling it. I do
Black
something else with
Dynamite
mine.
said, "Don't sell drugs in his community."
Like, exactly.
I think the more thing would be more consistency wise, because there are women that would said that, and then 7 years into the child's life, after life is getting harder, that's when they'll switch,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
or
Yeah,
they'll
because
be
it's easy at the beginning. You buy all those diapers and shit. You might be okay. You can pack those up. Get a bunch of them. But wait till they need shoes a new pair of shoes every 3 months because their feet growing.
right,
Now all of a sudden she bitter. She angry at somebody.
right,
And to be honest, this is why not even that I'm a Christian, right? I'm not a Christian, but even with the Bible, it's just a reference book, to be honest. And something like essentially saying the Adam and Eve story, Eve is always going to, go for that apple. And you see that still in a lot of women.
Man,
Without
that's
a man,
crazy considering we got it in our neck, right?
huh?
You think Eve really ate the apple, or you think that's a lie? I mean,
I
I
listen.
don't trust that story regardless. But let's just say if you walked in the room and you was like, I told y'all not to eat that fucking apple. Which one of y'all ate the apple? Adam points at E. Hey, that bitch ate it, man. And she was trying to share it with me. She told me to eat it. And you look at them, and Adam got an Adam's apple, and Eve neck bearing a bitch. Who ate that fucking apple and tried to swallow it real quick before you walked in the room? Which one
Well,
did it? Shit don't make no
I don't
sense. There.
I don't know about the owl's apple. I look at it just the metaphorically speaking. I look at it metaphorically speaking because essentially the lesson in that sense, or hey, she listened to the serpent. The serpent, which is the devil, has got her to do this, to disobey. She did it first. Then she got Adam to do it because the serpent couldn't get Adam to do it. As the man, you can't get men with this bullshit. You can get
Hmm.
they go through the women to
Yes.
do a lot of bullshit because the women will fall for it. And without the presence of the man, notice he had to make sure Eve was by herself. Because if Adam was right there, he couldn't have gotten it done. Make sure Eve's by herself. And that's why I'm just using that as a saying, like you said, hey, with this child support shit, with the government, all this type of stuff. That woman is by herself. There's no man. It's way easier for them to fall for the serpent.
And you see what happened. The results of that. Look, you dead on. You dead on because look at the results now. They did that shit back in the 80s. And now, now that they done had a whole generation of women without the fathers around. And now you see the results. You know, I don't want to describe the results so nobody thinks I'm fucking, any of those words that end in the ist. But nigga, these fucking
I think you got
if
to do a lot to have people on this podcast just call you straight up that.
like I mean it's just the truth. All of the children are fucked. all of the people are fucked. Our young men, they're all literally borderline gay. Every last one of these young dudes. I remember I was in a Xbox party with these young guys. We were playing, I think Smite, and it was the Diddy
You already
shit
set
was
it up
just.
by saying Xbox party, so that's already gonna be funny right now. But
Yeah,
oh, the war trenches right there.
look, well, we were playing Smite or some shit, but I remember the Diddy shit had just came up, and these young dudes were saying that they don't care. I would do anything, like for $1 million. My mom is struggling. I need money. They justified when they saying where they coming from. Like these are 16 to 18-year olds saying that yes, I understand that that stuff is terrible. That these people are being put through, blackmail for just to be famous and stuff. But I would do it because my mom needs money. And I'm like, damn, they really got us because, like you said, that next generation they fucked those women. Those women were all without men, and raising children on their own, raising sons on their own. Then you skip ahead to the future, and now you realize that all of these young boys are borderline gay, and it's not like they all want relations with men gay, but like every other aspect, literally every other aspect. They don't like manly things anymore. They don't know any tool usage or anything. They don't know how to do anything, but they definitely love fashion and gossip and drama. You get what I'm saying? Like what the fuck? They really didn't flip the script on us with an
Mhm.
action that they took a while ago. That's chess. That's real chess. That's real chess. That shit happened a
Yeah,
long time ago, and we still hurting
most
from that.
definitely.
I forgot. I think it was Dr. Umar said that the only way that we could save our people in America is we would have to take some of these little motherfuckers out. And I'm like, what? At first I'm just like he tripping, but when you think about it, he's right. If we came out and told everybody that they're being bamboozled, that this is what the law is and this is what the truth is, you're the actual people that are aboriginal to America. Nobody else is. They're all claiming false histories. Native American is a legal term and not a natural term, letting you know that those people that claim to be Native American, they're not even native to America. They are different peoples from different parts of the world. People are actively trying to take our culture and our history, and we're just sitting around fucking, what I'm saying? Just I don't know what we doing as a people, but we just sitting around doing this shit wrong. And if you tell everybody all of this info for them to understand that that's what's going on, like wake up, nigga, they trying to take your country right from under your fucking face, making you pay for shit that you don't have to pay for. Basically, doing the exact same thing that Hitler detailed that they were doing in Germany when he got back from the war. I don't know if y'all know the true story of Hitler. Why do you think they paint that man as the worst person in history? Why
Right.
they think he's auto villain? I don't give a fuck what character. The Joker is a fucking madman. I mean, killing anyone indiscriminately. But they still will paint that nigga in a good light. Well, I don't know. He did kind of save that one guy. Hitler asked, they immediately fucking, no, that dude's the devil. And if anyone refers to him as a good guy, then they're fucking crazy. Why do we have a straight up statement from Hitler saying exactly what was going on there? That these
Mhm.
motherfuckers had took over the country, raised the prices of everything, made people's lives horrible,
Mhm.
completely fucking horrible. And he wanted them gone, and they didn't want to leave because they had amassed empires in their country.
I've definitely been looking into Hitler a little lately. Like especially it's always weird to me, black people have some history. What did black people? What did Hitler do to black people? Nothing. What you got a problem with Hitler for? So
That's true.
it,
What is your country's problem with Hitler? What happened?
right.
What did he do to y'all?
What did he do to y'all? Nothing.
But collectively, the whole world is like, "Hey, yo, that's the worst nigga in existence. Get that nigga out of here."
Or
Hitler made a statement about the true Jews in America. He said something about what did he say? Y'all are gonna. I don't know. It was basically him saying that like, hey, y'all going to hell for what y'all trying to do to the true Jews in America. Um, something about the same thing that they were trying to do here, y'all were gonna do there, and y'all were gonna be severely punished by God for doing that to His people. I mean, this is historical accuracy. What happened right before or right after what happened over there? This is before he was killed in the war. He made a statement because they were already here in America. If you remember, America participated in that war and went to help go get Hitler. And he was basically
Hmm.
snitching that, hey, these the same motherfuckers that was over here, y'all, that took over my fucking country. And now all of a sudden this nigga is the worst nigga in history. Nobody can top that. Not even all these child rapists and shit. That's crazy,
Yeah.
man. I ain't
And
saying
it's
Hitler was a
just
good guy,
really
but
it's the Jews.
they not Jews. They
Yeah, no,
Ashkenazi
no, you
Jews.
know, he, you know,
You know
I
that
mean,
word?
the ones who take the title. You know what I'm saying? The
You know
ones
that
who,
word, the Ashkenazi shit?
what's that?
Look at that word right there. That's what they are. Ashkenazi Jew. Now I want you to look at that word. See, they said that Hitler was the Nazis,
Hmm.
but if they are the Ashkenazi Jewish people, aren't they the Nazis? Isn't that weird? Aren't they the Nazis? That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. This is who they are. That's what their name is, the Ashkenazi Jew. But now you realize that if Hitler was trying to get rid of these exact people, why they named him as the Nazis, the Nazi. You see, not making it up. They were the Nazis. The same way. Do you know how they try to switch our history with theirs? As I taught you before, the black doesn't mean us. Black means pale, colorless. So that automatically lets you know that a black person is a white person. You know, the person we call a white person, that's a black person. Okay, well, what about
Hmm.
slave? A slave, like when they refer to our people, think about how incorrect this is. You see a picture of you know what I'm saying, a melanated being in chains. They call that a slave. No, you stupid fuck, that's a person that is enslaved. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, think about it. That they are being enslaved. They're not a slave. So they let you know that a slave is not what they say it is. That's a type of people. That's the Slavic people. It's literally the Slavic people. Now, only reason why I know this is because the Slavic people were one of the first peoples out here that were basically indentured servants. They were the slaves. And then they were black at that. They were fucking black. BLC, K etymology. Not it pulled up Black China. Stop playing. I swear, the more you learn about this stuff, the more like a Google search puts up all kinds of weird ass, fake ass shit. But the original word for black means white or pale. Like, that's kind of crazy how that word is a description of being pale or colorless. That is colorless. So how did we get that part of history? How is that history ours? Or what about the Ashkenazi Jews being put in ghettos? They were stuck in ghettos in Germany, but now all of a sudden the ghettos are where we live. It's really
Hmm.
crazy how all of their
Oh
history
yeah.
is becoming our history, and our history is becoming somebody else's fucking history. We literally letting them fucking chinos. Yo, it's this book right here. Um, Asian slaves in colonial Mexico. This book details in entirety how it all happened. How it was the Filipinos, the Siberians, and obviously Chinese, but I can't remember what other major group it was. But those people were the slaves that were brought here. We had them people as slaves. It's fucked up to say, but the Cherokee people, which I am Cherokee, I think you would be too, Courtney, because shit, you look like my folks. I don't know, but the Cherokee peoples were the ones that had enslaved or not enslaved, but they were workers. They were indentured servants, but um, basically the slave trade happened in reverse, all that yada yada, and people were being sent to Americas to work on things that we were having built here. Like there's America is known for the greatest structures in the world. Pre the destruction of them. If you don't believe that, all you have to do is search the Great Fire of and type in a random city, and you will see that every city in America was part of this great destruction where they went around destroying everything in the fucking city. I don't know why they did that, but it literally happened. But we know that America had some of the greatest structures in the world, like building wise, and the architects here were really praised. But then you find out that it's because of Asian slaves. We know that we had the Asians to build the railroads and all this shit, yada yada. They stayed. Obviously, not everybody's going home. We sent them away from the United States where we live. We sent them down south into territories that we had already been lived in, yada yada. They
Mm,
were uh, mutilated and raped and stuff by conquistadors.
mm,
These people had like I think my homeboy man, Mexican dude, literally straight from there, Paisa is what they say, Paisa, I think. Um, he says that everyone here has black great grandmothers and their great grandfathers are either unknown or they're like some military guy or some shit. He was saying, he was just saying like that's a typical story here. That's what we hear about, is that like, oh yeah, you don't know your great great granddad, but you know your great great grandma, and she was actually a black woman, yada yada. Essentially, when these people became the the people of the area as they were ushered down there, and then they were mutilated by the conquistadors and shit like that, they became known as Indians, like they were part of our tribe, but they weren't. They were actually slaves from different parts of the world. That lets you know that none of those fucking Native Americans have anything to do with what being native here. But because the Caucasians, when they set up the de facto government, they were like, hey, y'all know about the $5 Indian shit. They was like, hey, if you pay $5, you can get Indian status. $5 fucking. They were selling our Indian status. Um, boom. Oh, but they were selling our Indian status to people for $5. That's what
mm.
the dolls rolls and all that shit. Apparently deals with, is that they just anybody that wanted to be an Indian, you could buy it, and obviously you would get paid for a lifetime and shit, and you could live on the reservation, and that's where all of the invaders that were from Siberia, China, and all those little ugly ass places and shit. That's who they are. They are Native Americans. Fucking
Okay.
crazy. Y'all ever notice that back in the day during the cowboy versus Indian times, there's a whole bunch of pictures of the Indians, like posed up and shit. You know how retarded that is? You mean to tell me your people at war and the chiefs are sitting here posed up for pictures taken by the bad guys at that, taken by the bad guys? The same pictures you've been seeing all your life throughout these history books and shit of these niggas, motherfucking pretendians like that. You know what I'm saying? People like that, that's who you see as Indians, and it's actually your history. That's your history. You ever notice how they sound like idiots? Just they don't
Hmm.
make no sense.
Yeah.
Our people. When we if look at what is it, the Mardi Gras shit. When them girls be in them tribal outfits and shit for Mardi Gras. If you
Hmm.
notice the dancing, if you notice double Dutch. Think about double dutch. Take the rope away with two women doing double dutch, and you will see very quickly that those are dances. That's how you teach the girl the dance with two ropes. You know what I'm saying? You teach them with the ropes. and they, as they were doing the dance, you take the rope away, and now you have them able to do this entire dance. The entire, it's so crazy, y'all. Our
I
people
can
don't pay
dig it.
attention to shit, man.
I can dig it, man. I love it. Well, I mean, we gonna get up out of here. Uh, man, I think that's some good information, man. I think you gave some good information, man. I sure appreciate it.
Shit,
And
shit,
like I
well,
said, I'm putting it in. I'm enacting some of this stuff I've learned this week. So, and hey, I definitely don't mind giving an update on how things went. So I sure appreciate y'all with the information.
yes, sir. Just hit my line, let me know. Like I said, I'll give you whatever you need. I'll set you in the right direction because this stuff is easy as pie. It's all on the internet. It's right in front of you. I ain't had to leave my house. I send that shit from my house. Take care of it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay, well that's it. That's a wrap, man. We're gonna get on up out of here.
All right, y'all. Good talking.
All right,